Andy, yesterday was April Fool's. Were you a big April Fool's person?
No, no, wasn't. I think we talked a little bit on Monday. Like I was never was the big joker.
Yeah, did we talk about that on Monday?
A little bit. Yeah, you opened us up with that on Monday.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, I missed out on April Fool's. I was in a meeting and I was like, man, I fucked up an opportunity to really mess with people with April Fool's. But I don't know. My even daughter didn't seem really into it, so I don't know if that's a thing anymore. I don't know. Somebody tell us differently.
I
But
think it's a thing. I mean, I heard some tales. I heard some tales. I think there were some people fooling, and definitely on the socials. There's a variety of things that get posted that are, you know, nonsense stories. So, I mean, like it might be best just to ignore social media on April Fool's Day. But yeah,
yeah, having been in the lacrosse community for a little bit, and around that world for a little while, like the big April Fool's one, and it was always one where they said the SEC, the mighty SEC, is finally going to go Division One for lacrosse because like the none of the SEC, none of the very few aside from the ACC and the Big Ten, it's not all those schools very few of the big schools with big football schools and big basketball schools play
yeah,
lacrosse because of the whole Title IX or Title X things that go on.
yeah.
And so the big thing is, well, if the SEC ever decided to play lacrosse, everybody would flock there instead of the small schools and such. And so that's always a big April Fool's joke. But Andy, something that's not an April Fool's is Liberation Day.
Yes.
Today is Liberation Day.
Should we stop and like do the Pledge of Allegiance, or like what's the appropriate response to that?
I mean, there might be a loyalty clause in there.
Yeah,
Um, and this is the day that we'll see. I guess where the rubber meets the road is the president finally going to enact the tariffs. And then other countries have already signaled, including Europe yesterday, signaled retaliatory tariffs are ready to go as soon as, the Trump administration put these in.
yeah.
But it's been a roller coaster ride. They've been enacted, then they've been rolled back or paused, I guess it'd say, because the president never does anything wrong. So he just paused them and then they enacted them again and put more in and so on and so forth. By the end of the day, Andy, we're going to be in a full-fledged trade war, economic warfare today, Andy.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's part of the glory of the Trump administration. We
The
will
golden
fuck
age.
up we will fuck up what we want, when we want, where we want, and who we want, to include the citizens of the United States of America on a regular basis, completely unpredictably, because it keeps you guessing, keeps you on your toes.
That's right. It keeps you on your toes, and Americans are already struggling a little bit in the pocketbook. Things have really gotten out of control over the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years in terms of inflation, in terms of cost of living. And what better way to change things up and do it? Now, granted, everybody, the mindset of a tariff is that if you put tariffs on goods being imported, it will force people to build plants and manufacturing in the United States for cheaper costs. Very rarely does that do that, but in the meantime, the consumer winds up paying the price for it. Don't listen to what anybody else says. The consumer gets the cost. The businesses, the manufacturers are not actually going to, they may take the cost initially, but that is going to be in the terms of then higher prices for their materials. And so they're just going to pass it to the consumer. And so if this were to play out and some company says, "Oh shit, I need to build a plant in the United States," that doesn't happen overnight, Andy.
Right.
Tomorrow, this will not happen where an automaker is now all of a sudden building vehicles in the United States because it's not just that. It's not just building the plant. It's hiring the workers. It's then getting everything flowing in there. Because here's the other piece, Andy, about the auto industry. Everyone's like, "Oh, we're going to build American cars again," but it's American cars with parts built in other parts of the country, and so that's then gets tariffed because of all the things that go on. So you can see that even if this were to play out in the president's best mind, it's going to be 2 years before any of that changes the prices because manufacturing just doesn't happen overnight. And By the way, people left the United States because of other things, higher prices, higher wages. They could build cheaper and more affordable cars. I'm just using cars as an example, but it's a lot of products, Andy. So,
Yeah, I mean, the stock market's been a little bit volatile over the last 24 hours. Stock futures are down this morning to start out in anticipation of what's coming. And, there's been a lot of talk around these. You've got the administration saying, hey, these are going to be the highest caps that they can be. And basically, countries can negotiate their way back from this level of a cap. Like, do what we want, right? We're going to bully you into doing what we want. And if you do what we want, we'll make it the pain easier for you. The approach here is, Dave, like, we're going to the ring. We're going to put everybody in a figure four leg lock. And if they agree to what we want, we're going to lighten up the pressure a little bit and give them a little bit of relief. That's an interesting way to work with other countries, right? It's not the spirit of partnership. It's not a spirit of friendship. It's not a spirit of, hey, let's all work together to create an economy that wins for everybody. It's hey, we're going to do what we can to make our economy as strong as we can, and screw you. And in a world that's inherently interconnected, like, America is not the only option, right? So people will go along to get along to a reasonable level, but they're going to do other things. They're going to trade with each other. They're going to create free trade agreements with one another. They're going to move goods and services elsewhere. They're going to find markets that are more friendly. Like, we're not the only destination. And so, like, I would be pretty shocked if long term this is economically good for the United States of America. But it's a big flex. And Donald Trump likes to imagine that he really does look like all those memes. He's a big, muscular warrior underneath that suit that he loves to wear. And he likes to flex and show the world that he's a tough guy. And that's what we're going to see today. So let's see. Most likely, everything you just talked about, Dave, is going to be our reality. Prices are going to go up. Manufacturing isn't going to exactly come home, not in any immediate sense. For Trump to see the results and rewards, potentially, of his tariffs, if there are real economic shifts in manufacturing and building and investing in America, he won't see those results till the 10th year of his monarchy. And so, like, either he'll be out of office or he'll be dead at that point, right? So he's not going to see the fruits of that effort. It's almost certainly not going to go gloriously for America. Maybe we'll be surprised, and maybe the world will love it, Dave. Maybe we're going to screw the world hard and they're going to come back and say, thank you, that was great, let's do it again. Maybe. No, but that's the world that we're living in right now.
well, this is the simpleness of the Trump administration is they think, again, we talked about this as first order thinking, or a small man in a big world type of thing, is he doesn't think about the second and third order effects. He's only capable of saying, well, we're going to just put tariffs on people. It doesn't realize that in order to spur true investment and true manufacturing, it's a whole of government type of activity. And it's not just by putting 25% tariffs on whatever he wants to do that. And I think that's just where the simpleness comes in is he's not smart enough to have a full vested plan. But one thing you can be sure of, Andy, is whatever happens as a result of that, Donald Trump will have won. In his mind, he has won everything and he has never lost. And so, like, just be prepared for that is the victory lap about how he's going to declare victory and America is golden age again. Here we go again, the roaring 20s, Andy. So never forget that the roaring 20s ended with the Great Depression. So
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly where they ended. So I'll just add this, Dave. You can order right now, if you go online, you can order your t-shirt in any variety of colors you want and up to 5XL in size, a glorious t-shirt that says the revolution begins on Liberation Day. And it's gloriously red, white, and blue. There's several pictures of, old white men and young white men wearing it. You too can embrace Liberation Day. And Dave, this is going to be a day just like John Adams predicted that July 2nd would be a day that we celebrate with fireworks and celebrations from all corners of the country. Mark your calendar for April 2nd, 2026, because it's going to be a wild celebration of Liberation Day, not just for us, Dave, but for posterity, for generations to come. Thank you, Donald Trump, Lord and Savior, for giving us Liberation Day, April 2nd, 2025. Dave, the revolution begins.
yeah. And look, I'll just end on this and then we got to talk other things. But the like tariffs can be an effective strategy with the right policies, right? For certain industries, they can be effective. Just by saying this, and this, we're going to tariff you and we're going to spur this. I'm sorry, it's just not going to work. And they're going to lose this one. I mean, and America loses,
Tariff
honestly.
you, man. Tariff. Don't tariff me. Tariff you.
Yeah, that's right. All right, Andy, let's go to our next topic. The NFL just had their meetings over the last couple weeks. Again, they continue to dominate. We wouldn't talk about the NFL if there wasn't anything to talk about, Andy, but they've done such a masterful job here of calling out their rule changes. They've done, they every year they evaluate some enhancements to the rules. Teams can nominate changes to the rules, and then they can be looked at and evaluated. Your Detroit Lions nominated a couple this year. One that I particularly really like, and but unfortunately didn't pass this rule. Though we're going to talk all of these, but I want to talk about this one first. Is it's the 5 yard defensive holding um, penalty, which results in an automatic first down.
Yeah,
So the Lions are saying it's unequitable that, it could be 3rd and 20 and simple grab of a t-shirt or a shirt by a wide receiver running out across the middle gets an automatic first down.
yeah,
And so they were calling for this. It did not pass. I like that rule though, Andy, is to get to overturn that, or at least make it. Why is offensive holding 10 yards, defensive holding is 5 yards, but it's a first down?
yeah.
Like we should make those a little bit more equitable, Andy.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, one, if it's the Lions' idea, it's almost certainly a good
Of
idea.
course.
But no, I agree. I mean, like there's an inconsistency there, and that should be, I think, resolved. It should be brought closer together.
Yeah, so let's look through a couple other rule changes. Some of them did make, and some of them did not. The big one is the tush push. This is, the Super Bowl champion. We can now say this: the Super Bowl champion
Yeah,
Philadelphia Eagles have used this effectively for the last 3 or 4 years. Other teams have tried it, and they just haven't been successful. Or, I mean, everyone says, "Well, why can't we should ban it?" But the reality is that the Eagles are just really good at it.
yeah,
And if they, why are you going to penalize a team that this is a rule that this is a thing that's not a competitive advantage for any one team over the other. Any team can do this. The Eagles just do it really well. And so I'm kind of like, I don't like it, especially when I see it lined up, but stop it if you don't like it. I mean, why don't you stop it? I mean, the Redskins famously in that playoff game, they just kept jumping off sides for it to the point where the refs had to say, "Hey, look, if you don't stop doing this, we're going to give them the score anyway." So, anyway, so what about the tush push, Andy?
yeah. It shouldn't be banned, Dave. I mean, like you said, and like Nick Sirianni, the coach of the Eagles, has said, like if it's so easy, you do it, and other teams can't do it. They don't have the line to do it. They don't have the quarterback to do it. They don't have the guys in the back that can push the quarterback successfully to do it. It's a designed play based on the skills and talent of the Philadelphia Eagles that they execute brilliantly. It's a boring play. It's not particularly fun for the fans. That's not the point.
Yeah.
The point is to win the game. The point is to get the first down, to get in the end zone. They do well, and people complain, well, it hurts, and it's a very violent play. It's football. Like yeah, like that's the game. So look, anybody can run the tush push. Anybody can try to stop it. It has been stopped. Is it hard to stop? Yes, because Eagles have put a lot of investment into getting big beef on their O line. They've got a quarterback whose quads are bigger than any other quarterback in the NFL. The guy can squat 600 pounds. Don't punish them for building a successful tactic just because you can't stop it. That's like saying, hey, Tom Brady's not allowed to deflate footballs before he throws them. That's what he does. That's what he does. He cheats, right? The Eagles aren't cheating. They play fairly. They do a great job with the play. If you don't like it, build a way to stop it.
Nice way to sneak that one in there, Andy.
Yeah.
Let's get through some other the rules here. Touchbacks will be moving out to the 35-yard line. This is currently the touchback is the 25. Moving out to the 35, Andy, means you only got to get with field goal kickers these days only have to get about 20, 25 yards and you're in field goal range. It's a huge advantage. They're trying to bring back the kick return. So, interesting to see this one. You in favor or not?
Yeah, I'm in favor. You want to see the kickoff be good. I mean, they made the rule change last year, this dynamic kickoff, and it kind of sucked. Like the kickoff was really lame last year. There weren't good returns. It wasn't a fun play. It was just kind of a dead, like kick it, touchback, done. So they need to continue to change it or go back to what it was. So I'm glad they're exploring it. They're trying to make it a safe play that's also fun to watch. Let's do it.
Okay. All right, Andy, this has been long overdue, but the chain gang may be like the way of the past here in coming forward. First downs are now going to be measured electronically. Andy, I never understood why, with all the technological advances that we had, how could we not get this right? Put something in the ball and figure it out. Here's set the yard line and we're good. So the NFL tested it out last year, now comfortable using it full time. So it's going to be an automatic first down based on electronics, Andy. So how are you feeling about this one?
Yeah, I mean, look, the chain gang's fun to see. You love to see those guys run out and then inevitably mark the ball wrong, so we can all yell at them. So we're going to take that dimension out of the game. I'm fine with it. I mean, let's get as precise a measurement as we can. You're talking about, I mean, half an inch can make a massive difference
Yeah.
in these games. So let's get it as tech. Let's use technology. Let's get the play right.
Yeah, and the other part is like I never understood like the same thing with the goal line. The goal line should be an electronic fence. When the ball penetrates that line, it's a touchdown. You don't need to sit there and have guys running in from the edge to say, "Did he get over? Did he
Yeah.
not? Let's go to replay." But
But
so
it's that magic moment, Dave, when he runs out and he raises his hand
yeah,
in the air and everyone's like, "Yeah, yeah,"
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's part of the glory.
You can still do it on a video board or something. The ref can do that. Okay. Andy, one other one here. Proposal to change the playoff format got tabled. Basically, this is saying reseeding the playoff or seeding the playoff teams based on record and not based on, the top four teams get the automatic for,
Yeah.
get a home game. And so this was again proposed by your Detroit Lions. It did not pass, but I'm in favor of this too. I actually like doing something like this because look, remember there were 7 and 9 teams that made the
Yeah.
playoffs a couple years ago. I famously the Reds or the Commanders did it, the Buccaneers did it one year, the Seahawks did it, and they got a home game
Yeah.
over a team that was 3 or 4 wins better than them. And I wish this would have passed. I would have liked to have seen this. So
Yeah, I'm mixed on it to be honest. Like in spirit, I totally agree with it. Like the best team should get the home game. The best record should be in the playoffs, like period. But I love the model of divisions and conferences, and there is something to like if your division's really good and you guys just beat each other up, and so you can't get that 12, 13 win season because you're all really good. That's one thing, but we don't see that very often. We've seen that in the NFC East in years past. Saw that in the North this year, but what we end up seeing is the NFC South and the AFC South, where teams that are absolutely awful and should barely be in the league, let alone in the playoffs, are getting to host playoff games, and you've got good teams that are missing it, on the outside, or definitely at least not hosting it. So, like, I think it's a good proposal, but I do love the tradition of yeah, you win your division, you get to host a game. Like that's the reward for being the best in your group. So there's like we've talked before. Like I like the idea too of NFC only playing the NFC and the AFC only playing the AFC. But like I get the reasons why we don't do that. You want to get the teams out to all the markets. Like I get it, but there's something special about those rivalries and that pride of winning. Your group. But good. Probably a good call to change it. If it happened, didn't happen. It got tabled.
yeah, yeah. So okay, but just a couple other ones, and we'll switch over topics here. The NFL is modifying their uniform policy so teams can do throwbacks up to 4 times a year. They're flexing the rules for Thursday night games to have a slight change. The voters can vote to talk about. There's just some different flex rules on this one. Replay assist can help with even more penalties now. 5 new penalties can now be overturned by the booth. I think these are good ones. Hitting a defenseless player, face mask, tackle, tripping and roughing the running into the kicker. And then, so those are good. I think those are important because again, in the moment, it may look like a face mask, and that's a 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. But in the reality, it could have been, grabbed on the side and there's a lot of things that happen in there. We've seen this occur from time to time, especially some of the roughing calls, the defenseless player calls. They do this in college where they look at, some of that stuff, and I think it's good that the NFL is doing it as well.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, look, we love to go off about officiating. Like that's a really hard job, right? To
yeah.
see everything that's happening in real time. Like there's so much happening. So, I really don't blame the officials having to make calls and getting them wrong sometimes 'cause it looks like one thing or another from their vantage point in the moment. But let's help them out. Like let's get these
Yeah.
reviews. Let's when these are really consequential calls, like why would we not use technology and make sure we get it right? It's to protect the players and to protect the integrity of the game. So all around wins.
I'm all for video replay assist as long as it's not like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I agree.
Because,
Yeah,
yeah, so let's use it if we've got the technology to do it. Still doesn't mean the referees are less important. It just let's get it right. Okay, Annie, one sad news today is we actually came on to the pod today. We learned that yesterday Val Kilmer passed
yeah,
away.
yeah,
Um, Val Kilmer had been, had a lot of health problems over the years. Most notably had some throat cancer back a couple years back, and so he's been working through that. But I think he died of pneumonia these last couple days, or yesterday, and so he was 65 years old. Most notably, obviously, he was Ice in Top Gun, Iceman and Top Gun, and then he reprised that role a little bit in Top Gun Maverick. But he was also a lot of other really good roles. Most famously for me, he was Doc Holliday in
yeah,
Tombstone. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. And his performance in that role was just unbelievable. There's so many great lines that he put in there. Great Kilmer at his best, but he's also in Heat. He played a great thief in Heat.
yeah.
He was Batman for a little bit, Batman Forever. That was when the Batman movies were not so great. And then a lot of ones like the Saint, I think, and he played a role in there, and some other things. Anything that stands out with Val Kilmer for you? This is a guy. He is our 80s. I mean, Iceman, Top Gun was the
Yeah,
movie,
yeah.
right? Maverick and Iceman. I mean, that was it.
He he was a little bit of a controversial actor, right? I think we were saying before we
Yeah,
started, like there was a while where he had a really bad reputation in Hollywood just for being really hard to work with, and he didn't make as many films I think one would have expected him to make because there was a time when he was so popular. But Dave, as an actor, like I always genuinely liked him, and you got it exactly right. Tombstone, man, what a great movie. And in a weird year where both like Tombstone and Wyatt Earp were both released in
yeah,
an uncorded manner, which made no sense because the same story, but Tombstone was the better film, and he was like the best, most like memorable character, from that movie. Doc Holliday was just absolutely great. While Wyatt Earp, I'm your Huckleberry. I mean, it's like there are these lines that you're just like, oh my gosh, like you are awesome. Like it was great. That is a movie I can watch that anytime. Another great Western that's forgotten, The Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood was also great around that time. But
yep.
man, Tombstone was really like that was the best of Val Kilmer and just a great movie.
Yeah, the Unforgiven actually was on the other night. I pulled it up and it was one of the end scene, where he finally confronts Gene Hackman's character, and again, Gene Hackman was so great in these. So it's sad, we're seeing the end of some of these movie careers. I mean, if you look at Clint Eastwood today, because I was looking at the Unforgiven stuff, and it's like Clint Eastwood is obviously very old, and he just doesn't look quite the same. You look at him back when he was in Kelly's Heroes or in all the Outlaw Josie Wales and all this stuff, and he's such a young guy, and then now he's obviously the age is not been great. I mean, but But you see Gene Hackman's passing away, great Western there. But back to Val Kilmer, he was also in The Doors. He
Yeah,
did, he hit that run there where he was really one of the it
yeah.
lead men, and it really did stem with a lot of his work. But yeah, I keep going back to Tombstone. Just everything, every line that he uttered in there
Great.
was just a classic line. I could almost recite them all. I think I saw that movie about 5 or 6 times in the theaters
Yeah,
back, especially when you used to have those 99-cent theaters right across from George Mason. They had the university theaters. It
right.
was those cheap. You go on a Tuesday for 99 cents. I'd go and would just watch that over and over again. So, good times there. But any other memories of Val Kilmer, Andy?
No, no, I appreciate him. Sorry to go. 65 is like way too young to go, but like you
Yeah.
said, he is fighting health issues, and it is what it is. So rest in peace, Val. Hope you're doing better.
Yeah. So again, take care as we get older, as our generation gets older here. We got to take care of ourselves and make sure we're getting our health checks and all that other stuff as well. So, all right. So we'll wrap up there. We went a little long on some of the topics today, but good discussions for you on Liberation Day today. And so, what are you going to go out and do to celebrate? Are you going to go out and buy up all the American-made only things today, or what?
I mean, I'll probably just like, go and stand in front of my Donald Trump golden icon, say a
Yeah.
few prayers and, give some offerings, burn some incense, just, I
I was
mean,
going to say the incense burning is
yeah,
probably.
just, normal stuff. Dave, we should, before we go, we should just mention there were, notable elections yesterday
Oh yeah.
with Florida, seats that were held by Mike Waltz and Matt Gaetz retained by the Republican Party, like absolutely should have. But significantly in Wisconsin, the liberal candidate won and won handedly in a state that Donald Trump did win in the election, and that Elon Musk in
Tried to buy, yeah.
George Packers, yeah, in Green Bay Packers, cheesehead hats tried to buy, rejected. The American people like rejected him. So a big win for the non-Trump, non-MAGA, non-Doge vote in Wisconsin. And also just want to pause and commend Cory Booker for his record-setting marathon in the Senate, speaking for over 24 hours. Commendable effort on his part. So just a couple notes that were, kind of big deals in their own.
Yeah, to the elections, I think two telling facts. One is the Wisconsin did go on the liberal side, so that was in one respect something to watch, right? But I think more telling was how much money and investment the Republican Party had to go into what should have been surefire wins for them, and ultimately they won those handily. But the fact that there was concern of those districts in the first place I think it's a sign for the midterms to come. I mean, we're only not even 3 months fully in on this presidency, and we've already got a lot of town halls, backlash, protests. Andy on the street corner protesting a Tesla stuff. So very, very compelling stuff. And kudos, yeah, I'll echo the kudos to Cory Booker. I mean, again, when we expect some of our leaders to stand up and make it, fight for what they believe in, I'll give Corey a lot of credit on that one. So, Senator Booker, kudos to you. Oh, you're on mute, Andy. So you gotta fix that.
I just wanted to practice saying what I was going to say before I said it. That's all.
Oh, there you
I,
go.
I really, I've got. I like Politico's headline this morning. It's got a picture of Musk standing there in his flight jacket in front of the flag, and the headline is "Republicans reel as Dem overperformances hit a swing state in MAGA country." And I think that's the reality. I think
Yeah.
there's the pushback is real, and like the Republicans need to figure out like how are we going to handle this because it's 2 months. People are exhausted and pissed off. It's a long road to midterm elections, and like the Republicans need to figure out what they're going to do, and what they're doing right now is not winning America over. But Liberation Day might save it, Dave. I'll stop there.
Well, and the other good thing is the Republicans quickly determined that there was no real issue with Signalgate, so they closed that right away and just
Yeah,
we're not going to talk about that anymore. So, I feel confident nothing was ever done wrong.
yeah,
So,
that's fucking
uh,
amazing.
the memes of letting journalists into chat rooms. Have you seen the ones like Star Wars ones where like Darth Vader, accidentally let Admiral Akbar into the hologram chat or something when he was talking to the Emperor. There's some good stuff out there, really good. Kudo, the internet wins on these type of things, Andy,
Yeah,
for sure.
for sure it does. For sure. America might be losing, but the internet wins.
All right, with that, we've gone a little over today, but with that, Andy, I will catch up with you on Friday. Happy Liberation Day.